It was also the Mesopotamians who began imagining patterns and designs in the starry night sky. It became a celestial join-the-dot game. And soon the sky was filled with all kinds of creatures and characters, some from mythology, some from real life. These patterns and designs were passed from one early culture to another, becoming fixed quite early in the very shapes we still know and use today. These became the so-called signs of the zodiac of the modern world. They formed a band completely encircling the sky, and through which the sun, moon and planets pass in their travels across the heavens. Modern astrology still has its roots in the belief that if you're born when the sun appears to be in front of a particular star sign, you come under its influence. Today we can explain astrology as a cosmic optical illusion. Each day in its orbit around the sun, the Earth moves a little farther in space, creating the effect of the sun having moved slightly against the background of stars. The Mesopotamians also noticed 5 particularly bright stars that seemed to move against the background of the zodiac constellations. We now know these supposedly wandering stars were the 5 planets visible to the naked eye. The Mesopotamians recorded the wandering stars passing through the zodiac, a skill the Egyptians later adapted. In the ancient Egyptian temple of Dendera, the modern zodiac signs of Sagittarius, Scorpio and Libra can still be seen. The Greeks inherited the cosmology of Egypt and Mesopotamia, and now our modern Western understanding is derived directly from the ancient Greeks. They played with many different ideas of the heavens, eventually arriving at an explanation of the cosmos that lasted nearly 1,500 years. Stars, they believed, were lights affixed to the inside of a giant sphere. The sun and the planets were set inside and attached to a series of crystal spheres whose rotations explained the movement of the heavens as recorded through the ages. Ptolemy, a Greek mathematical genius, cleverly explained the orbits of all the planets with the Earth at the center of the solar system. It was his theory that was to last until the 16th century, when Copernicus came up with a new cosmic order, in which the sun, not the Earth, lay at the center of the system. And his work would lead to even more breakthroughs. Mysteries, like the apparent backward movement of some planets, were soon explained using the new arrangement of the solar system. This vision of the cosmos proved an important marker in the history of our understanding of the heavens. It also contributed to the diverging paths of astronomy, a science that can be tested for truth, and astrology, a mystical belief system. In Europe, the realization that the Earth traveled round the sun caused a dramatic rethinking of the heavens above. The possibilities offered by the new astronomy seemed endless. They perfected the art of navigating the world's oceans, guided by the stars in the night sky. In fact, the ceiling in the hall of the historic Royal Naval College at Greenwich, England, carries paintings of signs of the zodiac we recognize today. Modern astrology, however, still has its roots in the ancient Mesopotamian belief that if you're born at the time of year when the sun seems to be in front of a particular star sign, you come under its influence. Meet Rebecca Salter. She's now just 6 minutes old. Rebecca has arrived into a bright, cold and noisy world. It's Monday, February the 24th, 1997, at 01:33 Greenwich Mean Time, in Bristol, in the west of England. According to modern astrologers, the lineup of heavenly bodies for this exact place and time of her birth can affect the course of Rebecca's life. Her birth chart suggests she can expect to be good with her hands, perhaps a carpenter or a surgeon. But at the moment, as far as Rebecca is concerned, her need is for comfort, for love, and for food. A godlike being will satisfy those needs, sometimes when she desires and sometimes when the god desires. Luckily for Rebecca, there is a god, someone who will provide just what she needs. Control is everywhere, but it isn't Rebecca's. She's a member of a species that understands parental supervision and control. The community she's been born into understands the same essential ideas. Surely someone or something is in control. Grasping at celestial coincidence, like the Egyptians who waited for the arrival of Sirius and the life-giving floods of the Nile, people throughout the ages have believed that we are all tiny cogs, grinding slowly and finely in an absolutely determined clockwork universe. Some would say that for Rebecca, the future is already determined. Rebecca will no doubt wish to feel she is the mistress of her own fate. Current science doesn't seem to endorse this view. Rebecca, modern science believes, has emerged into a chaotic and unpredictable world. There's little to suggest that vague influences of the sun, moon, or the planets may have any real effect on an individual's actions. Rebecca is most likely adrift, alone on the seas of probability, and yet astrologers feel they might know her future. A few miles from Rebecca's home, Nicholas Campion has spent many years studying the history of astrology and writing astrological charts for newspapers.
Modern astrology dates back to ancient Babylon, when the planets always studied against the background of the stars. Now, over the centuries, the Babylonian astrologers devised the zodiac of 12 signs. They gave those signs the same names as 12 of the constellations.
The modern newspaper astrologer has come a long way from his Mesopotamian counterpart, using the latest software to interpret what the signs mean for readers of a New York magazine.
First of all, I need to look up the date of the particular horoscope I want. Now, that will come in a book of tables. Then it's a perfectly simple matter to type the data into the software. Astrological software packages can be bought quite cheaply almost anywhere these days. And in under a second, that will then calculate the chart, which can be brought up on the screen. Here we have the chart for the 11th of November 1996, set for New York. And this tells us that the new moon in November 96 was in Scorpio. In astrology, the sun and the moon are called planets because all astrological calculations take the Earth at the centre. But what we end up with are quite contradictory indications in the chart. Any horoscope contains a balance of peaceful factors, argumentative pressures.
Today's astrological charts and the meaning we ascribe to the various signs are based upon models created thousands of years ago. Yet since that time, due to the very slow wobble of the Earth on its axis, the dates when the sun is in front of a particular sign of the zodiac have changed.